Continuing our reading in The World and Thorinn by Damon Knight. Today is Chapter 8, Section 1. How Thorinn was made captive by a flying engine that carried him deeper into the underworld. When Thorinn opened one of the bundles he had taken from the demon's house, he discovered that it contained lumps of dried meat, tough and nourishing. He ate his fill, drank water from the jug, then wrapped the meat again and put it away. Next, he set the magic box upright on the floor and looked at it in silence a while. "Box," he said at last, "I am here." "Well, what do you have to say for yourself?" "I have nothing to say for myself." "Then why did you betray me?" "What does betray mean?" "Why did you tell them to use the sword on me instead of—" Indignation choked him. "I did not tell them to use the sword on you." "Don't lie." "What does lie mean?" "Not to tell the truth, to say what really happened." "I only wish the truth." "What a lie! Didn't you tell them the sword was better than a stick to cut with?" "Yes." "And didn't you know that they would use it on me?" "Yes." "Well, then why did you do it?" "Because they asked." Thorinn sat back on his heels, confused and angry. "If it happened again, would you do the same thing?" "Yes." Tell them about the sword and let them kill me with it?" "Yes." "Well, then, don't you see I can't have you with me anymore? It wouldn't be safe." Thorinn stood up. "It would be safe." "How's that?" "If you told me not to tell them the sword is better than a stick to cut with." Thorinn squatted again, staring at the box. "You mean if I told you not to, you wouldn't?" "Yes, I mean I wouldn't." "Well, suppose I tell you now never to do anything or to say anything that will be bad for me. Does that mean you never will?" "I never will." "All right, then," said Thorinn. "But I don't understand you. I don't care if you're a spirit or an engine. Why should I have to tell you a thing like that?" "An engine can only do as it is told," said the box. "Do as I tell you, then," said Thorinn. After a moment, he gathered his bundles together, slung them over his shoulder, box and all, and set off down the passage. After a time, the dark eye at the end of the tunnel suddenly blinked light, and Thorinn knew they had come to a shaft. Here he paused, for if the shaft went both up and down, he would have no choice but to go down. "Box, does the shaft go both ways?" "Yes." "Is there another shaft near here that only goes up?" "What is near here?" "Oh, within 10,000 ells?" "No." While he mulled this over, Thorinn sat down and put down his bundles, opened one of the meat packages, and began to eat. Presently he said, "Box?" "Yes." "You said an engine can only do what it is told." "Yes." "But doesn't that mean that if I tell you to do one thing, and then later somebody else tells you to do just the opposite, you'd have to do what they told you and not me?" "Not if you told me to not obey them." "Then if somebody asked you to tell them how to kill me, you wouldn't?" "No, because you have told me not to do anything that would harm you." "Are you sorry you did it before?" "What does sorry mean?" Thorinn tried to explain this without much success, for the box did not know the meaning of wish, and he had to explain that, and then feeling, which the box could not seem to grasp at all. Finally it said, "Is being sorry wanting a thing to be different even though it has already happened?" "Yes, I suppose so. Well, are you sorry?" "No, because that would be senseless." "How senseless?" "A thing that has already happened can't be made different. Therefore, to want to make it different is senseless. Thornton was not content with this, and they argued the point a little longer, but neither could convince the other. The box would only admit that human beings could think in a way which was senseless if it pleased them, but that boxes could not. If I told you to think in what you call a senseless way, could you do it? Yes, but then my thinking would not be good, and that would be bad for you. What about my thinking? Do you mean you think better than I do? Yes. Thornton absorbed this in silence. Box, he said presently, you told me there were people at the bottom of the underworld. Do you mean they are people like me, or gods, or demons? What are gods or demons? Gods are, well, they are like men sometimes, but they can take other shapes and you can't kill them. And demons the same, but not as powerful. There are some people like you and some gods and demons at the bottom of the underworld. Suppose I went there. Could I steal some of their magic? What is it to steal? To take something that belongs to someone else. You could steal some things, and they would give you some things. Thornton was silent a while. The engines you talked about, would they take me there and not harm me? Yes, Thornton. And then they would take me back to the midworld? Yes, Thornton. Could one of them come here? Yes, if you call it. The crystal lighted, and Thornton saw a tiny picture of himself bending over one of the rings in the tunnel, pressing it down. The ring sank into the floor. The box went dark. If I do that, the engine will come? Yes. But why didn't you ever say so before? You didn't ask. Thornton opened his mouth and shut it again. After a moment, he said carefully, if you had told me about the engine before, it would have helped me. Therefore, by not telling me, you harmed me. Do you see? Yes, Thornton. Well then, after this, you are not to harm me in that way anymore. Do you understand? Yes, Thornton. That is the end of section 1.